Imagine a plane so fast it could outrun missiles, break the sound barrier, and do it all at 85,000 feet. A machine built not to fight, but to spy from the edge of space, where no enemy could reach it. This isn't science fiction. Meet the SR-71 Blackbird, the fastest jet ever created. It broke records, defied expectations, and even today, it holds a place in aviation history no other aircraft has come close to. But what exactly made it so powerful and legendary? Let's find out. The world was a dangerous place in the 1960s. The Cold War was heating up. The United States and the Soviet Union were locked in a silent battle for information, power, and control. Both sides had nuclear weapons, both had spies, and both were desperate to stay one step ahead of the other. In 1960, an American U-2 spy plane was shot down over Soviet territory. Its pilot was captured, and suddenly, the message was clear that high altitude alone wasn't enough. The US needed a new kind of aircraft, one that could fly faster, higher, and be untouchable by enemy defenses. That's when Lockheed's secret team, known as Skunk Works, stepped in. Led by legendary engineer Clarence Kelly Johnson, they were given an almost impossible mission. It was to build a plane that could fly at Mach 3, above 80,000 feet, and avoid being hit. Not by dodging, but by outrunning anything fired at it. It began with a top-secret CIA program called Project Oxcart, which led to the creation of the A-12, the direct predecessor to the SR-71. The early tests were carried out in the middle of the Nevada desert in Area 51. Everything about the project was hidden from the public. Even the engineers working on it weren't allowed to discuss what they were building. Eventually, the A-12 evolved into something even more advanced. It was the SR-71 Blackbird. It was developed jointly by the CIA and the US Air Force, combining intelligence needs with military precision. The Blackbird wasn't just a plane, it was a national secret wrapped in titanium and built to defy the laws of physics. But to fly that fast and that high, the plane couldn't look or behave like anything that had come before it. The SR-71 was designed for one thing, and it was pure speed. And with that speed came enormous heat. At Mach 3, air friction creates temperatures high enough to weaken or melt traditional materials. The challenge wasn't just to build something fast, it was to build something that could survive its own velocity. So, everything about SR-71, from the way it looked to the way it handled the heat, was focused on helping it travel faster than any aircraft in history. Most planes are built from aluminum, but at the speeds the SR-71 would reach, aluminum would melt. So they used titanium, a rare and difficult metal to work with. In fact, over 85% of the Blackbird's body was made from it. At Mach 3, the skin of the plane would heat up to over 500 degrees Fahrenheit. You could literally cook dinner on the nose of the aircraft. Its long, needle-shaped nose and sharp, sweeping wings gave it a futuristic look. But they weren't just for show. That shape helped the Blackbird slice through the air and stay stable at high speeds. The chines, which are those smooth curves running along the fuselage, weren't just part of its sleek profile. They added lift and helped reduce radar detection, long before stealth was even a known concept. But the real heart of the Blackbird was its engines. The Pratt & Whitney J58s weren't ordinary jet engines. At lower speeds, they acted like normal turbojets. But as the aircraft pushed past Mach 2.5, they began to behave like ramjets, compressing air with sheer speed instead of relying on spinning fans. This allowed the SR-71 to climb, accelerate, and maintain speed like no other aircraft in the sky. To keep those engines from choking on supersonic air, the engineers added adjustable spikes inside the intakes. These spikes would automatically move backward as the speed increased, slowing down the airflow just enough to keep the engine stable. It was an incredibly complex system, and it all had to work perfectly, at more than 3 times the speed of sound. The result was a plane that didn't just fly fast, it lived at the edge of what was scientifically possible. So, speed wasn't just part of the SR-71's design, it was its identity. Officially, the Blackbird could hit Mach 3.2, which is over 2,190 miles per hour. But some pilots have hinted at even faster moments, with brief bursts reaching Mach 3.3, maybe even 3.5. These were speeds that pushed the plane beyond what it was technically built to handle, and yet it held together. With that kind of performance, the SR-71 broke records as easily as it broke the sound barrier. In 1976, Major Eldon Jors flew it into the history books by setting the official airspeed record at Mach 3.3. No manned jet has ever gone faster than that. But the numbers get even crazier. The SR-71 could fly from New York to London in just 1 hour and 54 minutes. That's the time of flight from Los Angeles to Washington, D.C., in just 64 minutes. And it's faster than most people take to finish lunch. It flew so high, over 85,000 feet, that it touched the very edge of space. From the cockpit, the sky above wasn't blue, it was black. Pilots used to joke that they were flying faster than the Earth rotated, and in a way, they weren't far off. But that speed came at a cost. When the plane flew, it got so hot that its titanium body would expand by several inches, and the heat sealed everything tight. Inside the cockpit, every mission felt like threading a needle at 3 times the speed of sound. Even the smallest malfunction could turn deadly. But the Blackbird's crews carried out their missions with precision, knowing they were flying the fastest, highest jet on Earth. If your jaw's already on the floor from those speeds, just wait, we're not even at full throttle yet. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next. We're flying way past ordinary. Yet the SR-71 was more than just fast. It was also very clever. Unlike a fighter jet, the Blackbird was never meant to dogfight. It didn't carry missiles or guns. It didn't have to. It was built to be untouchable. Its sleek, dark shape wasn't just futuristic. It also helped reduce its radar signature. It wasn't truly invisible, but for its size, it was surprisingly hard to track. The black paint wasn't just cool looking either. It helped absorb radar and also radiated heat away from the aircraft. And while other planes flew through danger, the Blackbird flew above it. At more than 85,000 feet, it soared higher than Soviet fighters could reach and well above the range of most surface-to-air missiles. If a missile did manage to lock on, the response was simple: speed up. No evasive turns, no flares, just more control. In all its years of service, not a single SR-71 was ever shot down. Missiles were launched, interceptors scrambled, but none could touch it. Because it was a ghost on radar, a blur in the sky, a black shadow that came and went before anyone knew what hit them. For over 3 decades, the SR-71 served in silence, watching the world from the edge of space. From the jungles of Vietnam to the deserts of the Middle East, it flew countless missions. And yet, not once did it fire a weapon. It didn't have to, because its weapon was information. Between 1966 and 1998, the Blackbird flew over 3,500 operational missions. It swept over North Korea, Libya, the Soviet border, and across the skies of the Gulf War. Every time, it delivered high-value intelligence that shaped decisions back home, often before enemies even knew they'd been watched. These flights weren't just about spying. They often helped prevent conflict. The intelligence gathered by the SR-71 helped the US understand enemy movements, confirm treaty compliance, and respond to global crises faster than ever before. In many ways, the Blackbird was a silent peacekeeper. Thanks to its incredible speed and altitude, it was untouchable. Enemy radars would spot it too late, missiles couldn't reach it, and no interceptor ever got close. But even the most advanced aircraft can't outrun time. Despite its unmatched performance, the SR-71 was expensive, very expensive. Each mission cost nearly $200,000, and it guzzled fuel at a rate few could justify in peacetime. At the same time, military technology was changing. Satellites were offering 24/7 global coverage without risking pilots. Unmanned drones were becoming faster, smaller, and cheaper. And inside Washington, political winds began to shift. Some within the Air Force believed satellites were enough. Others wanted the money spent elsewhere. So, in 1990, the Blackbird was officially retired by the US Air Force. NASA kept a few flying for research, but even that didn't last. By 1999, the last SR-71 had been grounded for good. Its engines fell silent, hangars closed, and just like that, the fastest plane ever built faded from the front lines. Even though the SR-71 is no longer flying, its legacy is still very much alive, because it didn't just break speed records, it changed the way we think about flight, surveillance, and what aircraft could be. Many of today's stealth jets, like the B-2 Spirit, the F-22 Raptor, and the F-35 Lightning II, owe part of their design DNA to the Blackbird. The sleek lines, low radar profiles, and heat-resistant materials were all lessons learned from the SR-71. It also left a mark far beyond the runway. The Blackbird still shows up in movies, games, and books. And as much as we remember it, one thing is clear, that we may never see anything quite like the SR-71 again. It was the peak of manned jet-powered flight, a machine built at the outer edge of what's physically possible, where speed met altitude and innovation met ambition. Today, the future looks different. Hypersonic research is moving fast, with projects like the Boeing X-51, DARPA's Falcon, and Lockheed's SR-72, a rumored unmanned successor that could fly at Mach 6 or more. The SR-71 Blackbird may be retired, but its legacy will never be forgotten. It's a bold answer to impossible questions, a true pioneer in the skies. The Blackbird set the bar for speed, technology, and what's possible in aviation. Will we ever see something like it again? Maybe. But for now, the SR-71 remains the fastest plane in history. If you enjoyed this journey into the fastest plane ever made, make sure to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching. See you again with the next record-breaking legend.